All right. So, welcome everyone to the fifth episode of the Analyst Café, hosted by IIBA Colombo Chapter, and I will be Umrah Musaffer, the host for today. And we do have a very special invitee with us, Jennifer Yiu Thai, all the way from Australia to discuss all about business analysis, her journey, and every whatnot. So, first off, I would like to welcome you all, and with that, maybe we can get started, Jennifer. So, as always, I would like to know a little bit about yourself and how you got into the business analyst field. That would be the very first question that I want to start our conversation with.
Thanks so much, Umrah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to talk about business analysis. I sometimes get a bit geeky in the area, so thank you for inviting me.
Pleasure.
I am Jen, and I am currently a business analyst at Ingenuity Partners, and I'm working on a product that is built on the Salesforce platform. So that's what I'm doing now. But my business analysis journey started quite a while ago. If just to maybe shortcut a bit of my journey, because it's been quite long, I did start out as a programmer. I graduated as an engineer, and when I graduated, I was working for one of the large consulting firms, but it wasn't what I expected. And with that, I actually accidentally fell into the Salesforce ecosystem, and I started to be a consultant there. And I didn't know it at the time, but I was already doing business analysis work, being a consultant for a Salesforce partner. And so when I was looking for a change, one of my good friends was saying, hey, apply for a role at my company. You can be a business analyst. And I had no idea what it was. And that's kind of how it all started. I fell into that role as well, not knowing that I was doing that work as a consultant to begin with. And so that was a good 18 years ago or whatnot. And so since I've been jumping to and from Salesforce implementations to non-technology specific, and now I'm back at working on Salesforce projects again.
Nice, Jen. I'm curious to know, what a risk taker is what I feel, because changing or rather switching your job role is not a piece of cake. It's a bit of risk involved. So kudos to that. And that actually brought me to the second question that I had, as to you are a person with a lot of PE experience compared to me, I believe. So I felt, what are the key or rather essential things or essential skills that a business analyst needs to have? Because I feel like it's rapidly changing. The business analysis arena is rapidly changing. So, what are the key skills that you think would be necessary for the BAs?
I would say over the years, business analysis is still about people. It's still about business, even though we are the glue and we lead to then an implementation of a solution. It's still the heart of business analysis is understanding the business problem. So being empathetic, having good communication skills, whether it be listening or verbal or written communication, being able to distill information in a way that could be understood by different audiences. So that's my number one thought is the people side. That's still really important. And really understanding the problem before looking at ways to solve it. We're humans, we love to solve problems, and we tend to jump into solution mode a lot of the time, and which is great, because that's you come up with great ideas and being innovative, but it's even more impactful if you actually understand what you're solving for before you solve it.
Right. So more of problem solving skills, I would say. And that's something I agree with you, Jen. Like most of the time, we are so enthusiastic to solve the problem that at certain times we might not fully understand the problem. So that's actually a skill I think I would also agree with you on Right, right. And also, you mentioned that you're a Salesforce business analyst. I'm quite new to that. So I just wanted to ask you as to what drew you to specialize in Salesforce business analysis, and has your experience with the platform shaped your career?
Right. Yeah. If I told you all the different roles I had in my journey, you would easily pick out that I have this love-hate relationship with Salesforce. But truthfully, having that experience on the platform has really broadened my exposure to different industries. A lot of organizations adapt Salesforce, and therefore I've been lucky enough to come across industries like telecommunications, automotive, government, financial industries. So in that sense, it's really opened the doors to understanding different business areas because they all have different use cases for Salesforce.
Right, right. And also, like any particular Salesforce features you find most valuable for business analysis, Jen? And how do you leverage them in your projects?
Mm. So um, I'll just see if I can understand your question right. So in my line of work, we are part of the implementation team implementing Salesforce. So an organization typically in those types of projects have already chosen Salesforce as the strategic choice
Mm.
to be improving their business, whether it be processes, efficiency, whatever the case might be. And so I might answer that question in a different way. I would say that most organizations select or choose Salesforce as their choice because of its flexibility and scalability. And so they've already kind of chosen that. And so our job in that space is to almost be that balance and that voice for both the stakeholders, seeing what they need, and the build team to say, okay, what are the different ways we want to solve that problem, but not get tangled in the challenge later on that we can't scale it or we can't be flexible later on, because that's why organizations choose platforms like Salesforce, is so that the platform can grow with the business.
Right, right. And how did you get started, Jen? Let's say we have someone who's watching this series who wants to start in terms of the Salesforce part of the business analysis. In that case, how can they get started with it? Any particular certifications that you would recommend, or is it the experience that you get on the go?
Bit of both. So what Salesforce is really good at is that they've got a ton of resources that are very accessible. So what Salesforce has is a, a hub called Trailhead.
Mhm.
And so you can sign up, you can take their bite-sized, let's just say online courses that take you through the different areas of what Salesforce can do. They even have a trailhead that's specific to business analysis as well. And what comes with that is also a playground account that you can play with. So you can actually be really hands-on and you can go as technical as you like or not. And so again, it's what resonates with you. Do you want to be, more solution and systems focus, or do you like the challenge of, ambiguity or uncertainty in the discovery phases of a business problem? So, you know, the world's your oyster.
Right, right. That's gonna be one of my homework, Jen. I'm definitely going to kind of look into it and see as to what this huge haho is about, because I think it's trending and it's one of the most important parts of business analysis, right? To kind of see the upcoming trends or new trends that we are exploring in the arena. So, all right. I'll move to the next question that I had. So, the trends you see shaping the future of business analysis, not Salesforce business analysis per se, but in general, what are the trends that you think or you see shaping the future of business analysis?
Hmm. So I guess if we're talking about trends, I don't think we can't talk about AI.
Yes.
It's a topic everywhere.
Yeah.
And I myself, I'm still learning about it. It's so broad, I feel, that space. And it's not as though it's a new thing either. Like AI's been around, but it's only now that's become really accessible to
Yeah.
everyone to learn and play and experiment.
Yeah.
And I think more and more organizations are going to want to have a piece of AI in their work practices, like in their workflow, in their process. And so I think from a business analysis point of view, is to still be true to the fact that we still want valid use cases of how
Yeah.
AI, like we know that that's the future and that's, we're trending in that direction, but we still would need at the heart of it, and I have a hypothesis of what kind of improvements or enhancements we'll see and how can we measure that so that we are reaching our goals still.
Yeah,
So
I think you pretty much answered the next question that I also wanted to ask. Jen, the challenges that might come across when we adhere to these new changes or new trends, do you have any challenges you think that the business analyst might face, maybe with the incoming AI perspectives or anything of that sort?
yeah, and it's not just AI. I think
Mm,
if there's like almost like, shiny object, there's something new, something we want to try. And I think that's great when you want to be innovative and try
mm,
new, but it still needs to solve a problem. And so never forgetting that business analysis, again, is about people, about business. How do we improve? How do we progress? And not just implement things and hope that it's going to help. Like we need to be able to connect the problem to the solution.
yeah. Yeah. And also, Jen, when we wanted to have the interview with you, I just wanted to touch upon the global perspective because today I felt our interview is more like bridging the business analysis from, Australia to Sri Lanka. So I've been always thinking like, how does it feel when you work in the global industry, the influence that you get when you are working in a global context, and how does that help with like the decision making processes in business analysis?
Mm. I think there's two flavors here. So say in the business or industry context, there's always going to be different maybe regulations or rules
Yeah.
around how a business operates. So actually that doesn't have to even be global. It could even be regional and local,
Yeah.
and so with that, it's even though you might have worked in the same industry in the past, it's always good to, validate your assumptions and not think that it works the same everywhere. And from a people perspective, understanding cultural context as well, like what someone is saying, how they're saying it, and just being empathetic in that way as well. Different people communicate differently, and when we're the gel and the glue within the different
Yeah.
teams, like we tend to be the more flexible and adapting to what people need in terms of communication.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel, Jan, that the communication is something that evolve something that we learn,
Mm.
moving forward. Because for me, I personally feel it's just not about a language. Communication has a way more, a 360 view compared to, speaking from a different language. So, given that you have experience in terms of handling different clients, different communication, channels, how did you improve, or rather, what are the tactics that you learned over time in terms of communication, Jen? Because I feel it's an important part in terms of the career of a business analyst to have good communication. Any tactics that you use or anything that you learned over time about communication?
That's a great question. I think is very important. Set expectations, whether it be boundaries or things, that are coming up and expected. Some people might be new to project world as well, and helping them through that journey and what it means. Or someone might be experiencing change in their role in their job because of a project. You want to kind of help them through that as well. And so a lot of, again, coming back to, the aspect of people, business
Yeah.
analysis is so much about people, and not being afraid to ask questions, not being afraid to have those conversations and that dialogue and listen and collaborate, and just being open to different ideas as well.
Right, right. And any challenging client experiences or communication experiences that you faced in any challenge? Because I think throughout your journey you would have met different clients, and something that we often face are challenging clients. Because back then when I used to work with different countries, I felt sometimes the way I mean, like, for example, how straightforward our clients used to speak, and sometimes how friendly another client could be. Any particular stories that you have, or anything that you would like to mention about challenging clients and how you can, not take it personally, but, not be not that be a problem to your workflow? Anything that you can think of?
Okay. Yeah, well, the one that I'm thinking of right now is, I always like to say it's not that the client is challenging, it might be the conversation that's challenging. And
I
so,
like that.
and, and so really understanding where they're coming from, like going back to that theme of empathy. And there was a time when I could see visibly, even though it was virtual, like on camera, they were being really worked up about the meeting or workshop we were having. And after that workshop, I reached out personally, just to have a chat to see if something was going on, if there was any support that I could provide, any information, like how could I help them through this process? And that's all you really need is to genuinely want to help out that person and try and just get that understanding. Is there something else there that is, impacting them? Yeah.
Right, right. That's right. I really liked how you put it. It's not the client who is challenging, but rather the conversation that is, because it's so true. Uh, we'll move on to the next question, Jen. Something that even I sometimes struggle with. What I've felt is that, the business analysis part of it, the information technology part of it, everything is evolving. So, just wanted to ask you, how do you stay updated with the industry trends and, continuously improve your skills as a business analyst?
I try. I'm not, keeping up, and that's
Mhm.
just the way it is. So there's just so much out there that you can learn and pick up. But conversations like this, reaching out with peers, reaching out with those in industry or even outside to learn and to have these conversations and connection, I feel is important. Again, going back to people,
Yeah.
and yeah, and trading stories and asking questions about their challenges and what they're seeing and what is an interest to them as well. And business analysis is so broad, and sometimes you'll resonate with particular areas more than others.
Yeah. Yeah, even I've noticed like when I went through your LinkedIn profile, I was able to notice that you have answered a lot of questions, you have given your insights, which is very interesting. So yes, and also Jen, any piece of advice that you would like to give the new business analysts who are trying to, come to the industry, or rather who are trying to pursue their career in terms of business analysis? Any advice or anything that you would like to say to them?
Well, it's fun. Analysis is fun, and you can, and again, because it's so broad, you can actually find business analysis anywhere. It's when there's a business problem, it doesn't have to be technology specific. Business analysis skills can be used there. Yeah, and so if you're just starting out, really have an understanding of what type of roles that would use business analysis skills, whether it be kind of going back to a point before, whether it be systems focus, like learning about specific platforms and specializing in that and doing business analysis in that area, or more about perhaps building up, say, a business case, or how do you help a business get to a point where they can understand their problem really well and then look for solutions. So it's a very wide area that business analysis plays in, and yeah, have a try, experiment with different things and see what you like.
Explore, right?
Yeah, explore, exactly. And if there's an internal project that's happening in your organization, see if you can support and help out. That's like the quickest way to get experience.
Right, right. So coming back to your introduction, what captivated me most was that you were a developer before, Jen. So do you think that came in handy when you were a business analyst? Because I felt that could have been a reason as to why you have progressed through business analysis and why you've come this far. So did you have any impact around it? Why I ask this question is most of the time I get asked, do you need a developer background? Do you need a technical background to be a BA? It's a question that I often hear. So, what are your thoughts around it, Jen?
I love this question too. So to start off, no, you don't need to be technical to be a business analyst. But what you will find is that you will need to pick up the language or the concepts around those technical areas if you're going to be the almost like that bridge, right, between build and business. That you will need to have some type of understanding of how things work. You need understanding how the business operates, and then you need to understand how the technology operates. I don't think you can get away with that. And so with my background of starting off as a programmer, it definitely has helped me, pick up those concepts a lot quicker. I didn't know Salesforce at all when I became a Salesforce consultant. I learned on the job. But the concepts of how technology works, you've got your user interface, your database, and all that integration, like all of that is going to be helpful if you are going to be working on technology solutions, like having that understanding. Definitely.
Right, right. Yes, yes, I agree, Jen. And last but not least, I just felt like asking you, like you've come a long way. So I was feeling, what piece of advice would you give the Jen who started the business analyst career from a developer's, end, or when you did that switch, you would have had your own challenges, right? So I felt. What advice would the current Jen would give to the Jen who started off with development and then moved to the business analysis? Any advice that you would give to yourself?
Yeah, awesome question. So this is a saying that I've only heard recently, but it's come up now. I feel it's very fitting, and it's not about making the right decision, but making the decision right. So once you've decided that you're going to pursue a direction and go for it and put in your all to make it work. And if it doesn't work, then you try a different path. But again, you need to put your whole self in there to make it work for yourself.
Right. Right. So I think this was an interesting conversation, Jen. Any afternotes that you want to add to the interview? Any afternotes?
Well, I would say that this is a great forum to connect, and thank you again for inviting me here. And it's awesome to
Our
be
pleasure.
speaking to peers across the ocean
Yes.
about a passion, a shared passion. It's wonderful.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Jen. And I feel today's conversation was thought-provoking for us to kind of go back and see. And also, I really liked how we discussed about the people part of it, where we have to focus most of the time. So I would like to thank you on behalf of the IIBA Colombo chapter, and I hope to have more conversations with you, more discussions with you, because I feel this time to time brainstorming sessions or time to time discussions that we have with the evolving areas of business analysts is what is making us great. So thank you very much for joining our session today.
Thank you so much.
And that's gonna be a wrap.
Awesome. That was awesome. I really like your style.
Oh, thank you.
I felt really comfortable speaking to you.
Thank you very much. I'm honored. All right. Anything that you want to mention in particular, Jen, like about, because I saw that you do certain courses and things like that. I didn't ask any questions around it, but would you like to mention about the courses, or rather, I've seen that you do tutorials, to fellow peers or colleagues. Anything
Yeah.
that you want to add in terms of that?
Oh, well, I'm not sure if this is what you mean, but I do have an email course I put together
Mm,
just for foundational understanding of how to run workshops. That's just on my profile. Anyone
yeah.
can sign up for that. That's like a 5-day. Every day you get a tip. Um, but I did have a question for you, Umrah.
Yeah, yeah. Please go ahead.
Based on our conversation today, like, was there anything that surprised you?
Not really, no. But I think there were things that there were different perspectives, Jen. For example, as to the way how, like you spoke about how it's important to solve uh, a business problem. Because for me, I felt most of the time here, for especially for the juniors or people who are joining new to business analysis industry, it's not the case. But I felt with your conversation that you gave a different perspective to the business analysis part of it. Because from my background, at least, what I've felt is that problem solving part is just one part of business analysis. But with your conversation, what I felt was it's something that you do on the go, and it's something that happens all the time, right? So yeah, that was something that was a different perspective for me personally. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I always like to see if, because it's almost common sense, a lot of the things around
Yeah.
business analysis, but to actually, say it out loud or to discuss, different scenarios,
Mhm.
yeah, people have different approaches to it. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Right, right. All right, Jen. So it was definitely a pleasure talking to you.
Okay, well, thank you. And it's been a pleasure to meet you and talk with you. I really
Yes,
enjoyed
of course, of
it.
course. You made my day. All right. Okay, Jen. Thank you very much. Then looking forward to talk to you again.
Thank you.
All
Bye.
right. Bye. Bye.